Welcome, everybody. It's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's July 23rd, 2019. The show, as always, is presented by the Marijuana Times. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Bunch of great stuff there, including this show. If you click the video tab today, talking about new life for hemp regulations in Ohio. Also, an update on medical marijuana and the attempt to get medical marijuana in Mississippi. And a new merger makes a big weed mega corporation, or whatever, however you want to put it. All that's coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Make sure you're growing safe and poison-free, not using harmful chemicals on what you're growing. Be regulatory compliant. Don't use banned pesticides. You know the drill. You know Natureside, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. This first story by yours truly at marijuanatimes.org is an update on a story I did the previous week. New life for hemp regulations in Ohio. The week before, I had told you that basically hemp regulations in Ohio and the regulations surrounding hemp growing have been pushed back for discussion in the fall, and then suddenly in the middle of last week, Ohio lawmakers got together. Hemp regulations and CBD clarifying rules passed through both houses. Now awaiting the signature of Governor Mike DeWine. I read today that he was supposed to sign it tonight. We'll see if he does. And check that story out at marijuanatimes.org. I talked to Tim Johnson again from Cannabis Safety First, also ER Beach, owner of 4 Hemptations locations. Beach said it's a great move forward for the farming industry and will also help clarify the current laws on hemp products. There's a lot of confusion surrounding CBD in Ohio. Hopefully these rules will go a long way towards clarifying that. There won't be people or companies taking CBD off the shelves, things of that nature. And hopefully next year, some hemp will actually go in the ground in Ohio to be grown. Ohio is one of the last 4 states. Does not have any kind of hemp growing pilot program. So, as I said, Governor DeWine in Ohio is supposed to sign tonight. At least is what I heard. The rumor mill says, the grapevine, if you will. We will see if that's true. This next story from ClarionLedger.com. Mississippi medical marijuana group nears signature goal for ballot 2020. Organizers of a ballot initiative to legalize medical marijuana in Mississippi said they have collected and certified more than 2/3 of the necessary signatures to put the issue before voters next year. Jamie Grantham, a spokeswoman for Medical Marijuana 2020, said the group must submit more than 86,000 signatures to the Mississippi Secretary of State by September 6th. She said the goal is to finish collecting enough signatures by the end of this month so that there's time for a sufficient number to be certified by the circuit clerks before the deadline. The Mississippi Task Force is presently studying whether hemp should be grown in Mississippi. The Medical Marijuana 2020 campaign hopes to pass an initiative that would allow doctors to prescribe medical marijuana for certain medical conditions, including cancer, epilepsy, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, chronic pain, and others. So if you're in Mississippi, you want to get involved in that, make sure you look up Medical Marijuana 2020 in Mississippi. Join, get some signatures, get the word out, all of that. See if medical marijuana can come to a state in the Bible Belt, if you will. Am I saying if you will a lot in this episode? I tried to limit it to 1 or 2 an episode. But maybe this will just be the if you will episode. I don't know. We'll see. This last story is from QZ.com. The newest mega merger in cannabis marks one more step toward big weed. Yes, the boogeyman of big weed. The U.S. cannabis industry got a new green giant this week. Curaleaf Holdings, a Massachusetts-based operator of cultivation sites, processors, and dispensaries, announced a deal to acquire Grassroots Cannabis, a Chicago-based company that will give the company access to a newly legal and highly lucrative Illinois market. According to Barron's calculations of the company's combined revenues, the $875 million deal makes Curaleaf the world's biggest seller of legal cannabis, with more than $250 million in revenue in 2018. The mega merger is one more step in the industry's march towards consolidation, and the value and volume of these deals climb. There's about 200 deals in 2018 worth about $15 billion. If this deal goes through and everything goes right, between grow sites, processing facilities, and dispensaries, the newly combined operator will have a presence in 19 states with 68 operating dispensaries and licenses for an additional 63. According to Marijuana Business Daily, the industry is on pace to outdo itself in terms of the number of deals in 2019. The transactions involving private companies have nearly tripled, all an indication, of course, that the legal cannabis market is growing. It's getting bigger. Listen, I understand people are worried about big corporations and big weed and all of that. All I can say is what I've said before when it comes to that. In every other aspect of what we buy, whether it's retail products or use services or buy food, most people in this country buy from quote-unquote mega corporations, whether it's Walmart or Kroger or McDonald's or any number of other big corporations you can think of. As long as those aren't the only ones in the cannabis space, as long as we're not just left with the big companies, as long as the barriers to entry are low enough to where smaller, more nimble, more responsive competitors can come in and challenge these big companies, it's fine. All that matters is that consumers have a lot of choices. You want to spend more and go with a smaller company. You want to go with like a quote-unquote craft cannabis company. You want to buy from Big Weed. You want to buy from Marlboro. They're making marijuana cigarettes someday. You want to buy from them. Whatever. As long as you have choices. I don't care how many big companies there are. As long as there's a lot of companies. As long as there's a lot of choice, it doesn't matter. McDonald's, they're number one in fast food, but they only hold a small percentage of the overall market. And if the barrier to entry are low enough for cannabis companies, that's the way cannabis will end up. Maybe a big weed company will own 10% of the market, but that means 90% is, divvied up among thousands of other businesses. That's fine. You want to go to the Walmart of weed and buy it there? Good. You want to go somewhere else and buy it? Good. You want to grow your own? You should have that option. Good. You want to have someone grow it for you and give it to you? Fine. As long as you have choices and options, I don't care how many big weed mega corporations there are. The bottom line is big corporations are the ones that bring you the highest quality products for the lowest prices because of the economies of scale and things of that nature. Again, Walmart, McDonald's, whatever. Bigger companies are good. They spur innovation. But if they can keep smaller companies out, that becomes a problem. But as long as there's choices, it's fine. Bring on big weed. I don't care. Big weed, little weed, medium weed. You know what we want? Legal weed. That's what we're worried about. Legal weed. Thanks everybody for checking out the show. Do it 5 days a week here at Marijuana Times, the Marijuana Times. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Search us on YouTube and Vimeo for the videos. Search us on Apple Podcasts for the audio. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. They are awesome. Thank you all for watching, listening, sharing, and all the things you do to spread the truth about cannabis with this show. Please continue to do so. We'll see you next time, right here on Cannabis News.